All right, today we're going to talk about Pakistani English. It's this really unique variety of the language with its own history, its own flavor, but all those things that make it so different, well, they bring up a really fundamental question.
So, is a variety like Pakistani English just wrong English? That question comes up all the time whenever a language doesn't quite fit that standard British or American box. To really get into it, let's look at a concrete example so you can see what I mean. Okay, so a speaker of Pakistani English might say something like, he is having a car. Now, if you're used to British or American English, you're probably thinking, that sounds a little off, right? You'd probably say, he has a car. So here's the big question. Is one right and the other just flat out wrong? Or is there something way more interesting happening under the surface? So to really get to the bottom of this, we need a way to kind of map out how English is used all over the globe. And we need a system for this, a framework that looks at these differences not as mistakes, but as totally legitimate, systematic variations. And lucky for us, we have one. It's the brilliant three-circle model from the linguist Braj Kachru. Basically, he sorted countries into three circles: an inner, an outer, and an expanding circle. It all depends on their history and how they use English. And this model, it's a total game changer because it proves there isn't just one correct English. So where does Pakistan fit in all this? Right in the outer circle. What that means is, while English isn't the first language for most people there, it plays this huge official role. We're talking government, courts, university, the whole shebang. But here's the really important part. This circle is what we call norm developing. That means it's not just borrowing rules from somewhere else, it's actively creating its own standards, influenced by this incredible multilingual society. Okay, so how did this all happen? I mean, how did this unique variety even come to be? Well, like with any language, its story is tangled up in history, starting with colonial roots and growing into something with a real local flavor. So picture this. It's the 19th century, English arrives with British rule, and it quickly becomes the language of administration and power. Then, fast forward to 1947. After independence, English sticks around as an official language, but, and this is key, it didn't just stay the same. It started to soak up the sounds, the rhythms, the words from Urdu, Punjabi, and other local languages, and over time, it slowly morphed into the Pakistani English that exists today.
And that whole evolution brings us to the really cool part, the anatomy of Pakistani English itself. This is where we can actually see the proof. So let's break it down. What are the specific things that make it so unique?
Okay, first up, let's talk about vocabulary. Pakistani English borrows words straight from local languages, especially for things that just don't have a perfect English equivalent. Words like shalwar kameez for the national dress, or namaz for prayer, or broderie for a kind of family network. They just slide right into English sentences. And this isn't just, mixing languages for fun. It's about making English richer so it actually fits the culture. And it gets even more creative with what we call hybrid words. You'll hear phrases like time pass, which is used for any kind of casual, fun activity, or batchmate, which is just a classmate from your same year. Now, these aren't just random slang words. They are new words being created that everyone in Pakistan understands. It just goes to show how the language is alive and adapting. So what about the grammar? Remember that first example, I am understanding this instead of I understand this? Well, that's a super common feature. And this is what's so fascinating. It's not a mistake. It's actually a direct reflection of how grammar works in Urdu. It's like the logic of Urdu's grammar is being applied to English words. We call this language transfer, and it shows there's a different but totally consistent set of rules at play. You also see some really unique ways of forming words. For example, in British English, you can't have furnitures or informations. Those are uncountable. But in Pakistani English, you absolutely can. And brand new words get invented, like deload, which is a verb that came directly from the experience of load shedding or planned power cuts. Every single one of these examples shows a language that isn't just being spoken, it's being actively shaped by what people need to say. Okay, so we've looked at the building blocks, right? The grammar, the vocabulary. But how does this all actually work in daily life? This is where we get to see just how deep the roots of Pakistani English go in the country's culture. And its role in Pakistani society is, well, it's massive. It's the official language for the government and the courts. It's what you're taught in at university. And on top of all that, being fluent in English is often seen as a sign of social status, of being modern. It is absolutely central to professional and social life there. And that's exactly why you see authors like Mohsin Hamid and Camilla Shamsi using it so powerfully in their novels. For them, Pakistani English isn't just a way to communicate, it's the perfect medium to express what it means to be Pakistani and to tell these incredible stories about the post-colonial experience. Okay, so there's something we need to be clear about here. It's really important to draw a line between the formal system of Pakistani English and something related but different, called code switching. Now, code switching is something that bilingual speakers do everywhere all over the world. It's when you just naturally flip between two languages in the middle of a conversation. So, for example, you might hear someone say, please jaldi come, mixing English and Urdu, or maybe I will attend the meeting inshallah, which blends a professional, formal statement with a really important cultural and religious phrase. This stuff just reflects the everyday reality for millions of people who live in a multilingual world. All right, let's pull all of these threads together. It's time to go back to that very first question we asked and come to a final verdict. Is Pakistani English a legitimate variety of the language? Well, when you put them side by side, what you see are two different systems, each with its own internal logic. Pakistani English has this flexible, Urdu-influenced grammar and a vocabulary that's packed with local words. It's not a competition. It's not about which one is better. It's about recognizing that they have different but equally consistent sets of rules. And that brings us to the most crucial point of all. Thinking of Pakistani English as just incorrect English is, well, it's a total dead end. Modern linguists are super clear about this. It is a legitimate, valid variety of the English language, full stop. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Pakistani English is not wrong English. It's a legitimate, constantly evolving variety that's been shaped by decades of history, by a unique culture, and by a multilingual society. It's a living, breathing language, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. And that leaves us with one last, much bigger question to think about. As English becomes this truly global language, it's spoken by way more non-native speakers than native ones at this point. Who actually gets to set the rules anymore? Who decides what's correct? It's a question that really makes you challenge the whole idea of a single standard. And that, right there, is why understanding varieties like Pakistani English is more important than ever.